Well, I mean, a lot of guys to get into wrestling, they start with these kind of backyard leagues and work their way up and spend years and so forth. But in 1996, Vince McMahon calls you up and flies you out, and now you're suddenly in the WWE, which is the height of the height when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah,
How did it feel? How did it feel to first join the league?
you know what? At that time, I made my mind up that I was not going to compete in Olympic weightlifting anymore. And when I made in my mind not to compete in Olympic weightlifting, I was like, I can't just sit at home. Uh, I was going to go back and play football. I went to the Cowboys training camp. I talked to Bob Young, who was offensive line coach for the Houston Oilers, and got a workout. And I worked out for Jim Hannafin at the Redskins. And about that time, Vince McMahon called and said, "Man, I heard you like wrestling." I was like, "Hell yeah." And he was like, "Well, I want you to come and see how we do things." And I had to seem like the biggest fan in the history of fans that ever walked in Vince McMahon's office with the intent on being a wrestler when all I could do was walk around his office going, "Are these really Andre the Giant's boots? Oh my God, is that Hulk Hogan's shirt?" I was just the biggest fan. And I'm still the biggest fan. I love pro wrestling. The guys, I watch about 13 hours of pro wrestling a week. You know, between Busted Open, the show that I do on Sirius XM, where we're on 6 days a week, and I'm on Fox Sports 1 on Backstage, and I have a show called Not a Sports Show. It's not a sports show. We make jokes about the name. We try to mess it up as much as we can. But if you go to at Not a Sports 1 on YouTube, then you know we have a really high level show that's geared around not being a sports show, even though we talk sports. But I talk to people like you. I'm interested in you. I'm interested in what makes the world better. What makes the world interesting, and that's something that I feel like is what I got from pro wrestling. It educated me on an international level. I don't think about my neighborhood or my state or even just my country. I think about how what I do affects people. I've had people from Russia, from Asia, from Africa, Mexico, you name a place, and they say, "Hey man, if it wasn't for you in pro wrestling, I don't know what I would have done with my life. Like you made me want to work out and be a strongman, a power lifter, a bodybuilder, or whatever. You made me want to be an actor. You made me, and I feel like that's what wrestlers do over any other sport. You look at the world right now. There's no other sports that are live on television. Pro wrestling is, and that's the difference. Pro wrestling is a different animal.